Western Conference Finals ships to Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes and legendary purple rain. But tonight, the Wolves, they do not need a thunderstorm. They need a win. Teams that go down 0-3, they have never come back, as this Wolfpack knows all too well from a year ago. Ant had a bounce-back game on Thursday. He scored 32 points, but it was not enough. Can he do it again in front of one of the best home crowds in the league? They are going to need to find an answer, surely, for the league MVP, who's averaging almost 35 points in the series and barely breaking a sweat. Backs against the wall for the Wolves. We're counting you down on ABC.
My emotions were like so high that I was like tired of it, especially the start. I was like a little too juiced up.
5, 4, 3, 2, I let one go.
SGA, unstoppable.
I don't bluff, bro. Aiming at you.
He came ready to play.
Oh, we got to keep going.
You're a rock.
Very extremely physical.
You're a tough guy.
You know, we got to meet their aggression.
Just wanted to foul him.
What a turnaround here for Minnesota.
We're going to go home and fight for game 3.
I'm here. Take me there.
3, 2, where the ones go.
Gorgeous move from Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, we got to do a better job on air.
The only way they can stay in the game is on the line.
Bro, favorite love score.
We got to bring the fight early if we want to give ourselves a chance.
I come out the scuffball without a scuffball.
Welcome to NBA Countdown, presented by Chime.
We are live from the Target Center where the Wolves have a target on their back. Can they howl back in this all-important Game 3? Welcome to NBA Countdown alongside the legendary Stephen A. Smith, who's getting his groove on, NBA champion Kendrick Perkins, the architect of the Warriors dynasty, Bob Myers, champion coach Michael Malone. I'm Malika Andrews. Gentlemen, we know the importance of this game here for the Minnesota Timberwolves. It feels like, Coach, if they are going to do it, they need to contain Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. What has he done so well?
Well, he's dominated the series, the MVP, 35 points per game, and he leaves the conference finals averaging 15 points a night in the paint. I want to show you 4 clips because these examples show him getting to his spots on a really easy and efficient manner. This first clip here, he's going to have the ball left sideline. Great job of creating separation and airspace for the step-back jumper over Jaden McDaniels. This is too easy. No resistance. Gets DiVincenzo in the post. Minnesota offers no help, leaving Dante DiVincenzo on an island. Turnaround jumper over the left shoulder. Pick and roll. Gobert's down the floor. He's operating in space. Gets to his jumper. 2 of his paint points here. And this last one, the most inexcusable and unacceptable by Minnesota, allows him the finger roll layup. Minnesota, where is the urgency? Where's the physicality? And where's the multiple effort?
They primarily used Jaden McDaniels to try to contain SGA in Game 2. It just didn't work. They found some success on Anthony Edwards, who limited the MVP. Would you put Ant on him in this game?
Without a doubt, he's got to guard him tonight at some point.
How would you contain SGA here, Perks?
With both of them at the same time. Listen, I talked to 3 head coaches today, 3 championship head coaches, and they all said the same thing. They said they would double team him until he gives up the ball. He cannot be the one that's going to beat him. Hell, I wouldn't have sent the double team when they jet landed yesterday. That's how much I would want to get the ball out of his hands. You cannot let the best scorer in the league, the guy that won the scoring title, the MVP averaging 35 in this series, continue to beat you one-on-one with Rudy in the drop cover.
Shai is fantastic, right? And if you haven't watched Shai Gilgeous, watch this guy. If you haven't tuned into the NBA, he's worth it. He deserved the MVP. They got the best record in the league. They're better than I thought, and I thought they were pretty good. I don't know why we don't appreciate what they've done all year. If you would have asked any of us who's going to win the title this year, we always look at the team that just won it. I said Boston. You probably said Boston. I don't know what you thought because you were coaching. You said the Nuggets. We said Denver. We don't properly respect teams until they win the championship. This team is the favorite for the championship, and I think, no disrespect to what's going on even here in Minnesota or what's going on in the Eastern Conference. By the way, I blame you for what's going on in the Knicks. I blame you for what's going on.
We're going to get to that, don't you worry.
I will get there. But lastly, this Thunder team looks like the best team left, and it's not even close.
Well, you can say that, and nobody's in a position to refute you. However, we got to look at the Minnesota Timberwolves and what they're not. SGA, when he's on the court, he is a plus 47. That is 11 points better than anybody in the postseason. Ant-Man is minus 45. Only Dante DiVincenzo being on the court at a minus 47 is worse. That's horrible. You can't have that attached next to your name if you're Ant-Man. So I'm not saying don't double SGA, but I'm saying you embrace the challenge if you're Ant-Man of guarding him, because there's such a discrepancy, at least statistically, from what both superstars have given us in this series. And as a result, you're looking at the Minnesota Timberwolves on the verge of getting swept. And who thought we would be having that conversation? If you Ant-Man, you got to embrace that challenge.
I think Anthony Edwards, he knows the stakes of this game. They went down 0-3 to Dallas last year. We know what the end of that story looked like. Another team that is hoping not to face that devastating of a hole to look into. It is the New York Knicks. Let's take a look at our money moment brought to you by Chime. This was last night in Madison Square Garden. Tyrese Halliburton.
Spotlight now. Indiana, their point guard put New York through Halliburton in Game 1. Game 2 is going to be remembered for their big fella. Tyrese Halliburton, third team All-NBA pregame, but this was defined by a huge first half by Pascal Siakam. This guy won Most Improved Player back in 2019, 2 times All-NBA himself since his defining performance. P.S. I love you. He had 21 points in the first 15 minutes, 23 at recess, a 9-of-14 shooting. Head coach Rick Carlisle called it, quote, a special game. Pacers up 3. Hold of it. Pacers, first team ever to go into New York in a best-of-7 series and win both games at MSG. Indiana wins by 5. But this has kind of been what the Pacers have done. They thrive under pressure, 6 straight road playoff wins. Now 7-0 in clutch time this postseason. First team to do that second part since LeBron in the 2011 Heat. No team has won 8 straight clutch time playoff games since the Spurs back in 1999, who won the title, and they did so by winning a couple of those clutch time games over the Knicks in the finals.
The Thunder have dominated the Western Conference Finals, winning both games by double digits. OKC now has 60 double-digit wins this season, tying the 2016-2017 Warriors for the most in a season in NBA history. OKC has been led by league MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who has 69 points in the conference finals. That is the most points through a player's first 2 career conference finals games since Carmelo Anthony back in 2009. Looking ahead, the Thunder are 13-0 when leading 2-0 in a best-of-7, while Minnesota is 0-3 all-time when trailing 2-0 in a best-of-7, including the 2024 West Finals against the Mavericks. Quentin Richardson and Anscape senior writer David Dennis Jr. back here with us, and we're going full Dennis the Menace here. So, David, who's a player that could be a menace in today's game when you're talking about the Thunder and the Wolves?
It's Jalen Williams. Let's take a trip back a few games ago, Game 6 against Denver. He did not show up, and everybody was talking about what's his viability as a real number 2 option. Since then, in the 3 games, 23, 8, and 6. Since in this series, he has 6 steals, and he has yet to turn the ball over. If you're talking about the battle of the twos between him and Julius Randle, it is not even close. The Wolves have no answer for what he's doing offensively or defensively. If he's going to continue to be a menace, this series is going to be real short.
I agree with that right there, 2 Chainz. I double down. I like Jalen Williams. He's definitely going to be part of it. But if we're talking about a menace, the biggest menace for the Minnesota Timberwolves is undoubtedly the league MVP, SGA. OKC, they go as he goes, and we know that he's a walking 30 to 40-point bucket almost every night. And he's been there, and I think he's going to continue to be there. He's the one who gets he's the engine that gets the train going. He always finds a way, and he stays poised. That's what I like about him the most. Even when he's having a tough game, you don't see him showing the frustration on his face. He just continues to go about his business and always finds a way to show up and show out for his team. So I got SGA as the biggest menace.
Q, need your help on this one, man. We're scanning the NBA. We think we found a QR code. Minnesota's got to win 4 of 5 if they're going to win the series. What's the code by which the T-Wolves need to live to make this a series?
I mean, just like I said about OKC, we know Ant-Man, he has to be ever present. If he doesn't show up and be a lead guy, they have no chance. But for me, it's all about the Randalls, the McDaniels, the Rudy Goberts, and the Alexander Gilgeous and Mike Conley. They have to come up and be big for him. They have to support him and make it where they can't just double team and key in on Ant Edwards. They have to be formidable in their own way so that they can continue to keep their man attached and they can play. And they give Ant-Man a chance to do his thing one-on-one when he gets his ISOs. Because right now, with them not doing what they're doing, they're able to key in on Ant-Man more.
Q, I'm with you. You said folks need to show up big. You know who also need to show up big? The bigs. They need to show up big. The Minnesota Timberwolves got to figure out what to do with this Naz Reid, Julius Randle, Rudy Gobert situation. They have not shown. It's one thing to play against the Lakers and Warriors teams that do not have centers, but when you have the Thunder who are hounding these guys, they have given them nothing, especially in Game 2 when Julius Randle basically was a no-show, didn't play in that fourth quarter. Now, if I'm Minnesota, I can look at my fourth quarter in Game 2 and say, hey, we cut that lead down to 10 with Naz Reid at the center and spreading the floor out. That gave the Thunder a little bit of problems in the regular season. Maybe that's sustainable. Maybe that can cause some trouble. But other than that, they need to figure out how to get Julius Randle and these other bigs going, dominating the boards, playing defense, and scoring and putting some pressure on this Thunder team.
Hugh, I want your thoughts on this. We're either going to get an OKC Indiana NBA Finals, or either the Knicks or the Wolves are going to win 4 of the next 5, which just doesn't happen a lot at this level of the playoffs. Which comeback is likelier to you? Knicks against the Pacers or the Wolves over the Thunder?
I don't think either will happen. I'm with you on that. But if you had to ask me which one is likelier, from the looks of it, I think Knicks coming back over the Pacers would be more likely. I feel like the way that the Thunder have gone about it, they look like it's a one-sided series right now.
That'd be the first time that ever happens at this level of the playoffs, a team to drop the first 2 games at home, come back to win the series.
I feel like the way that Q said that might have been a personal attack on me, but I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. Okay,
you show up in Pacers yellow.